Just going to run through checking the limit switches are correctly set. This is important because it does affect the 0 points of the both of the two axes. Start off by clicking on the traverse program, and it goes through its initialization cycle. Then click on manual, enable the two axes, and then we can datum the two axes. What we notice is that both the axes move towards their limit switches. They locate the index mark on the encoder off the limit switch and then reverse back to their 0 points. Radial axis is on 0, the yaw axis is on minus 86.4 degrees. Which is close to the rear microswitch. What we're looking at now is to see that the index mark on the encoder is around about a half a motor turn from the limit switch. The way we do this, we put a small amount of speed onto the radial axis, and then we move out, and it will be stopped by the outer microswitch. And we can see there it's around about minus 0.95 millimeters. It has to be somewhere between about 0.6 and about minus 0.6 to minus 1.4 millimeters or thereabouts. If it's different to that, adjust the outer microswitch until you've got around about 1 millimeter of clearance. We'll return that back to 0. You can also look at the lead screw itself, and you'll see that the motor turns around about a half a turn. Similarly for the yaw axis. Now the yaw axis, one turn of the motor corresponds to 7.2 degrees on the yaw axis. This is because there is a 50-to-1 reduction gear in the drive. So what we're looking for is around about 3.5 degrees of clearance, which means that when we go counterclockwise onto the limit switch, we expect around about another 3.5 degrees of movement, which takes us to around about minus 90 degrees. So again, put a small amount of speed on, reverse back to the microswitch using the counterclockwise button, and we can see there it stops at minus 90.68 degrees. Again, around about 88 to 92 degrees is a not unreasonable figure. And again, if you look at the encoder drive, you'll see that the encoder rotates around about half a turn. To adjust the yaw axis, you'll notice that on the underside of the yaw carriage there's a pair of screws which act as stop pins. They act on a physical lever, and that lever can be adjusted very slightly one way or another using a pair of pliers, and that allows it to be adjusted. It shouldn't require any further adjustment. If it does, you need to try and investigate why that might have occurred. But obviously on the radial axis, the adjustment occurs when you change the position of the limit bar. So that is it. We can disable the motors now, and then we can cancel and exit the program.